What do you do? What do you do on a Memorial Day weekend and a Memorial Day Monday? What do you do? Well, for me, it's always about something to do, but what do I want to do? And if you watch my channel, you know that the ride motorcycle thing to do is kind of just phased out for the moment. But you know what happens? This is interesting to think about as a parent. As your kids grow up and they move on and they become self-sufficient, and then you're all by yourself again like you were so many years ago before you got your life going, getting your education, your career, getting married, having a family. But you know, for me, this is all new to me because for the last 20 years, I've had a kid to take care of, which you know very well. The Ice Girl was my sidekick, and she was with me a lot. But that's all changed. It's changed. She's moved on. And now for me, kind of now feel like I'm going back to when I was just getting going again. But the biggest thing you kind of start to figure out is you do have more time to yourself to do things you want to do. You do have more money in your own bank account because you're not having to support your child anymore. I'm sure many people know that story, especially if you sent them off to college and you raised your hand to pay for college, and finally they got through college and finally you paid the debt off for the college bill. That's not my story. But point is, here we go. This is all these training stuff that doesn't need to be here anymore. So for me, I got to get motivated to clean up my front of my barn. But before I do that, I really think I'm going to get fixated on something else. This morning's conversation was the conversation of the electric vehicle agenda, how it's being torn apart under the Trump administration, and trying to bring things back to normalcy in our country, which I think he is. Some will disagree with that, but whatever. The whole point is, it's pretty incredible here that I have this Ford F-150 Lightning truck. And whether you realize it or not, I have now owned 3 of these. I was one of the first in June of 2022 to get a brand new F-150 Lightning truck. Beautiful silver color. It was a great truck. In hindsight, I probably should have never gotten rid of it because I paid just MSRP for it, no markup. But I did a whole video with it, of me trailing with it, and blah, blah, blah. But then that was the stupid times where I could give it back to them, and they'd give me 10 or 20 grand more for what I paid for it, blah, 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 blah. So my first Lightning truck disappeared, and then I didn't have one for quite a while. But then I bought a black electric vehicle, I should say a black F-150 Lightning truck, for a gentleman named Joe that worked for me. And the main reason I did that was because I used to pay him by the mileage for him working for me out of his Toyota FJ Cruiser. So what people don't realize on that is that rate, if somebody works for you and rides around their own vehicle, you have to pay them. Well, you can do one or two things. They can elect to write it off their taxes, or they can elect to have you pay them on a weekly basis the monies that they spend driving around on their car, being the mileage write-off, which was anywhere from 55 cents to 68 cents. And so for me, I was spending basically about $1,500 a month to pay for Joe to drive around his own vehicle. Well, I kind of came to closure that his vehicle was getting a lot of miles on it. So I made the decision to buy him a nice brand new F-150 Lightning black truck. And it would be his truck, meaning when he worked for me, he had full use of it for his own personal use, business use. It's his, as long as he works for me. If he doesn't work for me, then it comes back to me. Well, if you watch my channel, he had that beautiful black Lightning truck, and it was a short-lived romance with that, because eventually he left me about 6 or 7 months after I bought it for him. So then it came back to my compound here, and then you saw the numerous stories of the F-150 black Lightning truck having the brick issue over and over again. And yet now, you know, it's gone. It's gone bye-bye. So that's a whole other story, which we won't focus on that. The real focal point is, I bought this F-150 Lightning truck, I believe, in 2023, and I got rid of the Ford Mustang Mach-E. I bought a beautiful Ford Mustang Mach-E, blue and a white one, and it was like space white. I bought for my wife, and she had I'm trying to think of what it's called, the range syndrome. She never really drove it a lot because she always had the range syndrome driving it to work. So it sat forever. I had it for like 2 years, had like 3,000 miles on it. And I traded that in on this F-150 Lightning white truck And what's incredible is I have barely driven this truck. I have not really driven this truck much. This truck has so much technology in it. I don't think I have ever hand washed this truck. I don't even know if I've run it through the car wash. I can't remember. So the whole point is, here is a fascinating truck that today I'm going to take the time to clean this truck up and really kind of get it back into my me driving it, because it has the hands-free driving. I mean, this is such a cool vehicle. I mean, this is a great vehicle. I mean, I know we have the anti-EV crowd out there, but at the end of the day, this vehicle is a very good vehicle for what I use it for, and it's a shame I let it just kind of not really get the loving it should, but I gave it to Brian for him to work out of on a regular basis. But now that Julia has moved on, the Blazer actually is his favorite. He'd much rather ride around this. So now, that's good. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this vehicle up more for my work vehicle, but the damn thing's trashed, and this thing doesn't have the storage compartments that my other ones had. It's such a bummer, because it doesn't have this storage capability where you have all this stuff. You have like a whole bin here, and it would be underneath the seat. I think you can probably get one, but I'm not going to do that. Once again, the car just really needs some tender, loving care, and I'm going to unload the back of the bed of it, because when you go to the car wash, you don't like stuff flying around. But what I'm going to do, I was at Costco the other day, and I just had this gut instinct to buy 2 of these self-container. So funny. I bought all these adult dog biscuits. I bought so much stuff that I'm going to take back to Costco and get refunded. But here you go. I have this really nice carrier here. Got to get the dog bones out of the way there. So I got this little portable carrier, and that actually works really well for me to be able to have better organization in the back of that truck. So that's my next project here, everybody. That's what I'm going to do today. If you want to just kind of watch my channel and see the things that I do and don't do, or what you like to entertain. But first thing I do is get the Gold Rush out of the way. Then I'm going to pull the white truck over to the shed, and I'm going to load a bunch of gear and crap out of that thing. But the thing about this truck, even though part of me says just let it go because it's so expensive, but the beauty of this truck is it has the electric outlet in the bed of the truck, and it has the electric outlet in the front of the truck. And when you use these things out in the field, you can run your real power tools, and that's huge. It's a big difference. And the thing is, if you really run this thing thousands and thousands of miles a month, this really does save you a good chunk of money on fuel. Now, see, Brian's got this thing all set up for him. Let's see if it remembers me. Does it? It does. Go back a little bit. Not enough. How about number 2? Nope. How about number 3? Nothing. All right. So, but the first thing I got to do is, it's incredible how Julia and Brian lives in this truck many, many days. That truck has like 20,000 miles on it. So right now I'm going to get the Gold Rush out of the way. We all like to listen to the rumble. I'm really watching Gypsy. Gypsy is eyes on Gypsy at all times, just because of her antics of wanting to, I feel so much better. I know a lot of people felt my aggravation today, but when you're rocking this shop, this is such a nice shop, and to have this place just have crap and piss everywhere where you're stepping in it, I mean, it's just so aggravating. And I just am getting to the point, it's like, how can I get a handle on this? And I feel very confident now I've gotten a handle on it. I think that now, by putting the dogs in a camper, but secluding them to their specific area, so I don't want that dog here. I don't want all the dog here. They're not sleeping in my bed. No way. It's too nasty. These dogs are in the creeks, the ponds, all around in the freaking yard. So no thank you in that. So I think the camper, once again, pays off. Not saying that in my house I couldn't accomplish the same thing. I could to a degree. But once again, the camper life is really paying off. So let's listen to the Dodge Gold Rush. How about that? That's just music to your ears. And, you know, for me, I would borderline drive this car to Florida. I mean, this would be a fun over-the-road car to take, but here's the challenge. It would probably get stolen down there in Florida. So if I drove us down to Florida, then I started hanging out, driving around, then the challenge is that, you know, these things are being, I mean, it seems like that's quieted down because they're not getting these crazy numbers they used to get, but I'm sure they're still getting stolen. I'd be willing to bet somebody on the channel like, oh yeah, I have a friend that had their Dodge Charger or you know, Challenger stolen here a few months ago or something like that. I'd be amazed at that story. So whole point is, it's a great car to go ride around in, but I have the fear of it's going to get stolen. So now you just witnessed that excitement, right? So now where's the excitement? You know, where's the excitement on this? Right? Really what I can do is move that damn Talon. That Talon, I need to take that Talon and power wash that thing and really clean it up. I think I'm going to move that away. Challenge is, the dogs go nuts. The dogs go nuts when I start that thing up. And it's just so aggravating. So where is the Talon key? Oh, I think I found my Honda Africa Twin key. Oh, cool. So I didn't lose my Africa Twin key like I thought I did. So that's great. You know, today, that's a $50 or $100 thing, if you know what I mean. So let's move the Talon out of the way. Still got the Jeep. And that's the thing where I come to the, looking at, you know, the obligations. I mean, I love the Jeep Mojave, though. It's such, you know, that's the problem with me in life. I just have a hard time letting stuff go. That's always been my problem, is all I can do is drive somewhere and trade in for something else. So now when I get in this thing here, all these guys, and these things sits a lot, sits way too much. Look at this here, all the spiders. This thing needs to be cleaned up big time. And, like I said, the dogs are all going to go nuts when I start this thing up. So, the concern is, I should have parked it back here just to get it out of the way. But I think later I can stay. Later, if I can stay excited, I'm gonna clean this thing up. I spend more time cleaning things than riding things. Have y'all figured that out yet? I mean, it is the damn truth. That thing's a lot of fun. It's incredible how Brian, last year, Brian jumped in that thing with me, and I rolled the damn thing. I mean, you know what? And he told me he was a really cool guy right there because he wasn't freaking out. He was like, let's do it again. Gotta remember to take that damn fence driving post thing back to Track Supply and get the correct one. So here now, I'm going to back my truck up so I can get my gear in the shed here. But as you just heard, we just heard all the noise. So this is where the Lightning truck, this is where people just get turned off. Thing is, there's people out there taking Lightning trucks and they've modded them a little bit, and they do look good. There is no doubt about that. So I mean, there are people out there that take these vehicles and they get the different wheel package. Some have put a little lift on them. And all right, time to get in. And so the seat's way too close for me. So I gotta get back. And so now we're gonna turn it on. And there it is, the big shebang. I don't have a trailer connected. That thing's confused. So now, put her in gear, you know. So this is where it turns into what, you know, it turns into, okay, hello? Is it running? Is it on? But these things are so powerful. This thing is so fast. And then once again, it has the Blue Cruise technology where it's self-driving, and which is very nice. And so, check out there, Rebel Boy. Yeah, like this. I could take this to Florida, but it'd probably take a 2-day adventure because of it would be requiring me to stop probably 7 times. I would have to say I'd just have to stop because I'd probably go about 200 miles for every charge. 1,000 miles, that's five charges. But you know, it's pretty cool. I could actually right now go into the navigation and I could actually plug in where I'm going, and this is going to tell me how long it takes to get there. So let's do this here. Let's go ahead and let me do that as you're doing that. Let me turn. All right, now I'm going to go ahead. So it's 825 miles. So calculating. Oops, here. Calculating. So I would imagine this is going to say like 20 hours. And it's taking time. All right, so there it is. 21 hours. 21 hours. So I can usually get to Florida in usually like 13 to 14 hours. Especially if I'm not trailering with a vehicle. So, look at that there. So it has different routing on how to get there. And so, yeah. So that would be, it's basically a 2-day drive. That's where these vehicles, you know, are a challenge. Where people get turned off about this product. Oh, this is funny. So the rear tail thing doesn't open. So I gotta get this thing in for. So I get this thing in for service because the real tailgate doesn't work. Let's see here. So now let's get out of this and not do that. So, all right. So now, you know, all the technology and everything else on this vehicle, like cars, electronics, it's a pain in the ass because now the rear tailgate won't open. Now, tires, 20,000 miles, not bad, but I would guess this would get maybe 40,000, maybe, unlike my Jeep. So yeah, so now I come back here and we open this and it doesn't do. So now I got to climb up in the bed of this truck to get all the crap out of it. One nice thing about a dump trailer, it becomes just that, your dumping ground for all your crap. All right, but you know what? I think I'm going to be forced to just hand wash this truck. The car wash is not going to even come close to how dirty this truck is. So, and the bed of this truck is just filled with so much debris. So I'm going to get in here and either vacuum this stuff up. If you try to blow it out, you probably try to blow out some of it, but it just starts swirling like a whirlpool, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I got a project. You know what? It's getting hot. I'm going to take my shirt off. The pullover now, it's just too hot. Now, the challenge here for me is I got to be careful. I get so fixated on what I'm doing. It's like, where have Gypsy and Rebel gone? I don't know. But first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out the Mustang because I just know that eventually I'm going to pull this truck in the garage to give it a much more, okay, there she is, a much more fine detailed look. So let's get the Mustang going, wherever the keys are to that. All right, let's get into Dark Horse. Beautiful car. I mean, this really is such the car. I mean, this is a very, and the birds, see the birds. Probably gonna clean that off real quick. That's pretty heavy duty stuff. That just stains your paint, man. All right, got that crap off of there, which never ending crap, right, everybody? So let's get down the Dark Horse to get the day going of me getting yet dirty and hot and sweaty and all that Fun stuff. And do I change out my Challenger hat to a Ford hat to look official? I mean, if Ford product, I mean, I get pissed at the Ford because of all the crap I got myself into with Ford, but it is a nice product. I mean, I will tell you that. The Ford Mustang, the Bronco, the Super Duty series, nice stuff just for me. I was the fool to go way too far. So here we go. Pull out the Mustang. So I'm going to do here, I think I'll just put it over here. And that's what exactly what I'll do. And make it so that it's just right here, right next to me. Yeah, the Mustang stays in the, I wonder who's looking for me now. The F-150 Lightning truck stays over here because of the power supply, just like that, just like the Blazer, it has to stay over there for the power supply. So it has to be parked within the vicinity. That's a whole other ball game. If you have an electric vehicle, it's like, to give you an example, if I went to Florida with a Lightning truck, then I know there is up the street at Thornton's gas station, they just put in a bunch of electric chargers. So it wouldn't be a big deal for me to go up the street and charge the vehicle. So really what it would come down to is, if I want to make the trip a 2-day trip, but then people are like, why would you take the Lightning truck? Right, why would you do that? Because here's the ball game. I'm going to be spending every bit as much money on electricity as gas. If I took a fuel-efficient vehicle, it would probably be less money, because this here, what you want to figure out here is, this is a 134 kilowatt battery pack, if I remember right, or 138. So it's showing 5 recharges. So if you get 2 miles per gallon, 2 miles per gallon divided by 1,000 is 500 kilowatts of energy. 500 kilowatts of energy times, let's just say 50 cents a kilowatt's $250. So you know what's really cool? See, it's on, and you don't even know that. Look, $19,999. That's something. That's what you can't see it really, but all right. So now I'm going to pull this thing back over to the power wash areas. That's what I'm going to do. The first thing I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to pull this thing out. The only downside of this vehicle is it's totally sucks. So the turn radius of this thing is so bad. Actually, what I do here, I'll pull this thing over here and see if I can blow this debris out in this thing. I do it over in the shop, then I'm going to have all these leaves and everything else sitting in my shop. So I'm going to do it over here. But yeah, so once again, so if you think it through, so now if you had a vehicle that gets 20 miles per gallon, 1,000 miles, 50 gallons. 50 times $3 is $150. So for $150, you can go to Florida if you get a car at 23 miles per gallon. If I take this truck, and somebody like, well, the kilowatts is 38 or 40 cents a kilowatt. Nah, all these electric manufacturer charger guys, I haven't been there in ages. I know it was at 48 cents 3 years ago, and I know they have raised the rates. I guarantee it's 50 to 60 cents a kilowatt now. So, and then you factor into getting a hotel room. So, so now, we just figured the numbers, $100 more for the electricity. So that's just one way. So round trip, $500 electric bill. Round trip on the other one's $300. There's $200. Round trip, stay in a hotel twice, just a bare minimum hotel's me $100+. I'll just say you stay in a piece of crap motel. So there's $200. There's $500. So $500 more to go to Florida in that vehicle. Not including if I drove around much, which I won't. But if I did, not including you're paying more for electricity than the gas. That's why the Green Agenda loved the $5-6 a gallon fuel, because if you're paying $5 a gallon on 50 gallons, it's $250 for gas. So then it's just a wash. You're not like, yeah. But then the person will argue, yeah, but if you plug it in your home, but how do you plug it in your home when you're 200-300 miles from your home? You can't. Wow. All right. Gotta get my blower out, and that's a lot of noise. I'll let you not have to listen to that. All right, now I'm gonna have to dress down because I'm getting warm. Still in my jeans. I'm gonna find now my official hat that makes it so you can breathe. So I'm gonna put this one back here. Need to change the oil in the John Deere tractor. I'll just put on my John Deere hat and do that. And I got my orange shirt on. My orange shirt isn't the best. I'm probably going to change that as well. And it's incredible how Mike and Mike. Does anybody remember this guy here, Mike and the True Beginnings? And he went one way, the other guy the other way. I don't really watch this stuff. The TV came on from yesterday's Indy 500. But the whole point is, the one guy became very successful. I don't know if the other guy ever really took off. Just like Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel of the Man Show. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel, he hit it big. He became the nighttime, personality that likes to piss everybody off if you're not a liberal. Likes to make fun of all the conservative leaders of the country. And so the point is, I wonder what happened to the guy, Mike and Mike. All right, let me get the blower out, and I don't know where Gypsy is right now, so I'm going to track her down.